back to 2002, because I think similarly, a lot of businesses right now are going through very difficult times, in a recession. And you're absolutely right. Some businesses will survive, some businesses won't.
Yeah.
What is it that you felt going through that first recession that you did where it allowed you to stay afloat and to keep going? And to raise funding?
The one thing I knew, it's like a gut feeling, but it's being lean. Being lean, being nimble, that's the only way to survive. Have a very flexible workforce, i.e. we didn't employ proper people, we didn't have payroll, but make sure that everyone is engaged. It also has to be, people have to want to do it. You can't have people involved who just do it for the financial return. It has to be the passion, the actual subject, the way we go about things, that has to play a really important role. And then everyone has to be flexible. It's flexibility, lean, being nimble, being able to, I also felt that at that time, what was really important is necessity is the mother of invention. I felt not having means made us actually quite creative. And we came up with ways that we could do research, even in silico at the time. We used data sets that were published by Harvard, and we build our first case study essentially with the evidence on in silico data that we could freely access. So it was actually, you become very creative, and I think it's a good learning ground to start in a crisis.
Makes sense. Were there certain decisions that you had to make, especially at that time, in order to be more lean, or just from a survival perspective, where perhaps they were tough decisions? It could have been personal decisions for you, decisions for the business.
Oh gosh. Oh, I do remember. I'm not saying it's a returning story, but what's really important is that you are really flexible, that at that time when you start a business, you don't have any reserves. I do remember it was a time when you could watch How to Be Millionaire or something. No, what is it? You could win that. It's like, if only I had $1 million, but I didn't have $1 million. I had perhaps as a company, we had 10, 20, 40,000 K in the bag. That was it. So what you had to do was make sure you could live of next to nothing. Oh yes, I had another piece of advice from someone that was really good. Initially, I didn't understand it. They said, before you set up your company, get yourself as many credit cards as you can. Another piece of gold advice, because it's true. It's true. You can max out the credit card. You'll pay it back later when you pay yourself a proper salary. It's just, you need means to survive. It's fine. It's fine. You can live that way. And so it's little tricks. It sounds like a survival story, but actually it is a little bit of a survival story. How did that work for you? You probably have told it a few times.
No, I mean, that's the reality of starting a business. I think that, you get more creative. You realize how far you can get, $1 a pound stretch.
Exactly.
And, all of a sudden, but there are really tough decisions that you have to make. Some people, right now they're trying to decide, okay, in terms of staff and, letting staff go. But I think whether it's good times or bad, it's important to always rationalize and to be efficient and with your budget, and to always have that discipline of cutting the fat when you don't need it, because you never know when you are going to have to sort of tighten the belt a bit.
That's absolutely right. And I think the one thing I've always learned, I've never let go, is every penny, you can only spend it once. Mm-hmm. So spend it wisely. So yeah. So that was, that's sort of, perhaps it's Dutch frugality. Yeah, I don't know, but it's really, I'm very careful. At the end of the day, I think everyone has to be careful. Another snippet of advice someone gave me, which I think is absolutely true, and I do think there's a difference between male and female entrepreneurs, perhaps, and I'm not sure if it's in this area, but Another one of my board members for my first company, she said, as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, we take a lot of risks, but our main job is to reduce the risk there is around us. So even though we're in a highly risky sector, the one thing we do at all times is minimize risk for failure. So this is my day job, essentially. That's what I do on a daily basis. I look at all the risks we have, and I make sure they're minimized to the greatest extent.
Absolutely. I mean, especially when you're in a position where you're continuously looking for investment and also keeping your existing shareholders satisfied, that is what you should be doing in terms of minimizing the risk to that capital and to that investment that you've been entrusted with. So absolutely, I think that's key.